Thank you, Pio, for that lovely introduction. Unfortunately, folks, the aged beef is no longer on the menu. But we do have 2 cuts of prime lean beef on that table over there, emceeing for the evening. It's 10 pages, but I promise you it feels like 9.5. Carina was an ugly baby. And when I say she was an ugly baby, I don't mean she wasn't the cutest. I mean people literally shuddered when they first saw her. We would need to slowly peel back the blanket and reveal her a piece at a time, so the overall effect would not be too jarring to the viewer. I'm not saying she was horrible, but we had to switch her to Similac at 3 months because her face kept curdling the milk. But I'm not here to bash my niece on her wedding day. I'm here to provide some clarity on how, with a little help from fate, God, and her uncles, we got from there to the beauty we see before us today. The year was 1993. A young Uncle Beef enters his junior year of high school, new to both the uncle and partying games. And I very much welcomed the distraction a new baby brought. I went about my life for months, blissfully flying below the radar, as all the attention in the house remained on the cutest baby you've ever seen. Taita's words, not mine. And all would have remained well had I not eaten all of the peanut M&Ms. You see, my sister Carolyn was very fond of her new baby, but not nearly as fond as she was of her peanut M&Ms. My sister had gone to the pantry in search of her snack of choice, but emerged with nothing but a heaping plate of fury. She waddled off to my room with her little gremlin in tow. Baby Carina followed in one of those contraptions that I believe has since been recalled. It's called a walker. Basically, you put your baby in a seat with a tray around it and wheels underneath, and then poof, a child who God in his infinite wisdom decided was too fragile to be given the ability to walk is magically transformed into a free-range baby. I opened my door to find out who had been pounding on it. I avert my eyes from looking directly at baby Carina and take in her essence the way one would the sun. And I asked my sister what could be such an emergency. Fueled by M&M madness, she launches into a tirade and keeps ranting, that is, until we hear the whir of wheels, as what appears to be a big toe with lips takes off at full speed down the hallway toward an uncovered staircase and certain danger. The M&M convo takes a back seat as we take in the scene that is unfolding before us. Now, the Savgas are known for a lot of things, but athleticism, unfortunately, is not one of them. But still, we reacted swiftly and took off with all the speed we could muster after this goblin on wheels. We made it about 15 feet down the hallway, and I started to hold my side as fatigue set in. But my niece was on the line, so I dug deep and pressed on. I saw her closing in on the staircase, so as the gap between us shrank, I leapt to grab the edge of her walker and save the day. Now, folks, if good intentions gave you the ability to leap, Mother Teresa would have been able to dunk a basketball, and I would have been able to save baby Carina. But alas, all the good intentions in the world only allowed me a front row seat to watch this baby fly like Thelma and Louise off a cliff to what I was sure was certain peril. She tumbled down those steps in slow motion, and as we picked up Carina and released her from the mangled remains of her walker, we quickly started to examine to see what the damage was. Thankfully, although rock may beat scissors, on that day, ugly baby beat marble, and Carina was no worse for the wear. As we're turning her face to make sure she's okay, I'm almost sure that Carolyn and I share a sideways glance, as if to say, is she cuter? What could have happened in that fall? Now, I'm not claiming full responsibility for the beauty we see before us today. But who can really say how things would have turned out had I not eaten all of the peanut M&Ms on that fateful day? Ever since the M&M incident, I've had a soft spot in my heart for Carina. Unlike the rest of my body, it has only expanded with the passage of time. Carina evolved from that unique-looking baby to the beauty we see before us today. But more impressively is that her outward beauty pales in comparison to that of her inner beauty. Carina, even as a child, was something to behold. She was steadfast in her beliefs of what was right and wrong, and held to her moral compass regardless the opposition, which made me coin the phrase that she was unapologetically Ina. Upon pondering that phrase for this speech, I thought, what exactly would she have to apologize for? She was and is perfection personified. They shouldn't have made me speak right after the Dusty. I'm sweating like you wouldn't believe. Next time I need 4 speakers between dancing and the transition. Even in childhood, she did what she believed was right, regardless of who disagreed, and did it with the conviction and assurity of a CEO. She's the first person in my life who, although younger than me, showed me traits that I wish to emulate. Carina, for as long as I can remember, has been an example to all that know her. She has the enviable trait of standing her ground with a moral conviction, and if she believes something to be correct, she's doing it. And if you have half a brain, she's likely convincing you to do it as well. As an adult, she has the same convictions, but being a skilled teacher has replaced her iron fist with a velvet glove. Now she is not only able to get you to see the light, but also able to make you think you found the light switch yourself. Come on, when you're asleep, pouring my soul out of here. As if unparalleled intelligence and integrity were not enough, God saw fit to bestow upon this girl her uncle's intelligence and charisma, and wrapped it all up in one breathtaking package and capped it off with a smile that lights up the room. Much like that fateful M&M's day, I'm still able to compare Carina to the sun. But now, instead of looking away, you can't help but stare and marvel at the power and brilliance, and bask in the warmth of which you've never felt its equal. And yesterday, before I walked her down the aisle in church, someone asked me if I was going to get emotional giving Carina away. And I thought about it for a minute. And I said, no, I'm not. Because I had no intention of giving her away. She and I were going up that aisle to get Brandon. Brandon was not always a welcomed addition to the family. Only because nobody could be good enough for my Carina. But now, I'm even more certain of that fact. But at least he's aware of it as well. For those of you who don't know, you don't simply walk into this family. You earn your spot via baptism by fire. My rationale is, if you can enjoy years of me, then the ups and downs of marriage will be a breeze. When they told me Carina had a boyfriend and he wanted to meet me, I was outraged. How dare this boy have the nerve to want to meet me? Was he not terrified? Had my reputation not preceded me? That was a problem that I hoped would soon be remedied. So when he came to meet me and greeted me warmly, "Hi, Mr. Savga." I was Mr. Savga back then, now it's down to Pete. "Such a pleasure to meet you." I slowly looked him up and down and gave a simple hi, for fear that if I got too chatty, my natural likability would obviously shine through and the jig would be up. However, they must have prepared him for this well-orchestrated intimidation tactic, because Brandon was unfazed. "I hear you're into gardening. Can you give me a tour?" Now I can't believe the audacity. Willingly spending time with me, alone? This wasn't going as planned. It was time to pilot the ship away from the rocks and get us back on course. As we walk the garden, I pick a pepper off of one of my plants. Do you like sweet peppers, I asked, presenting my offering. Sure, he replies and eats it in one bite. Well, those are hot peppers. Let's finish the tour. And I proceed to take Brandon, with his nose and eyes running like he'd been maced, on a very leisurely and very detailed tour of my garden. About a half hour later, Carina comes out to check on him, and through a voice thick with agony, he says, Can I get a bottle of water? He didn't say a word about the burn. He knew the game, and he was playing it at a master's level. I had to keep my eye on this one. He crossed swords with me and left no worse for the wear. I was officially impressed. Brandon continued to ingratiate himself with the family, but did it on his own terms. We in the Sabga house want our personal space above anything else. And that's what makes Brandon such an interesting fit. As he too wanted our personal space and was happy to claim his piece of it whenever the opportunity arose. I remember one Christmas morning, the entire family was gathered in a circle to watch everyone open gifts. The seats were in short supply. As people were accepting their lot and taking a seat on the floor, I looked on with interest as Brandon eyed a sliver of couch located right between my parents. It was like something out of the movies. Everything fell silent and the entire family turned to watch, as if in slow motion, as Brandon slowly lowered his ass so that it was essentially sitting on both of my parents' laps simultaneously. And then, like the Red Sea, those two old legs parted to make way for Brandon. It was then that I knew whether we were ready for Brandon or not, we were going to have to make room for him. Now that he's won me over, nothing could bring me more joy than welcoming him into our family. Brandon, you are the best genetic shot I will ever have of holding a golden-haired Lannister grandbaby. Can you imagine a blonde baby, me? We could hope. And now that you're part of the family and married to the best among us, allow me to offer you both this advice that was given to me on my own wedding day by a man I respect above all others, my uncle, Dr. Edward Moses. He said in his speech that life has a way of throwing curveballs at you. And when life gets difficult, use those challenges to bind you together instead of drive you apart. The most beautiful rose, he said, is found at the end of a stem of thorns. So it is in nature, so it shall be in life. And he was very correct. It is easy for love to bloom when the sun is shining, but it is the rain that will feed your roots. This advice has served my wife and I well for all that life has thrown at us, and I hope it does the same for you too. Now, we aren't a group that doles out high praise. In fact, we tend to be much more comfortable around insult humor. But I would be remiss to end this speech without mentioning those responsible for the masterpiece that is this evening's bride. Firstly, to my parents, Carina was blessed to have you both in the prime of your lives and to have spent her earliest years under your roof. You are our family's greatest treasure, Mom and Dad. You are the trunk of our family tree, the storytellers, the ones who started our cherished traditions and the ones who are always there to lift her up, to lift us all up. Yours is the home that has always been filled with unconditional love, kindness, wisdom, and of course an abundance of food. You have given us all the strong foundation of a home base, children and grandchildren alike. You've set a tremendous example for a life lived for family first. And we are a unit that truly lives our lives together. We celebrate our joys. We support each other in our struggles. We mourn our losses and rejoice at our triumphs. And we do it together. We continue to show up for one another as you have always done for us. And today, the wedding day of your first grandchild, it fills me with pride to welcome Brandon into our brood on your behalf. I'm getting speech fatigue here. I need to take a sip of water. To my eldest sister, Carolyn, Queen Bee as she is rightfully dubbed in our family. Much like the M&M she loves so much, a hard exterior only masks a sweet and nutty inside. Carol, you raised not one but two remarkable young women. For every aspect of their lives, from their exceptional characters to their grateful hearts, their academic achievements and independent living, you were there. You showed them through the way you handled your own life that you can always find a way to succeed. That success is gained by hard work, both internally and externally. You have taught them about being resilient. You have taught them to always know their worth. You have given them so many life lessons simply by the way you chose to live your own life. It is no shock to any of us that they are strong, independent, fiercely loyal, and loving women because they were raised by one. All of the stress eating you've done in this last month has been worth it. Everything looks amazing. But I can honestly say, dear sister, tonight you haven't lost a daughter. You've gained a ton. I mean son. Carina and Brandon, as you turn the page on this new chapter in your life, allow me, who went before you, to tell you that this is the most rewarding chapter yet. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated and raise your glasses in a toast. When you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. Brandon and Carina, may your years be filled with laughter and joy, and may you keep growing side by side in the same direction. Congratulations, and I love you both with all my heart. To the new Mr. and Mrs. Paneras.